Australia is now one of the most vaccinated countries in the world, with 85% of people aged 16 and above double-dosed.
As borders reopen and the restrictions ease, it's prompted an increased focus on those who are not jabbed, and experts warn they pose a risk to their communities. The freedoms for fully vaccinated Australians are growing, and as restrictions ease, people are mixing more, travel is resuming, life is getting back to normal. Each state and territory has its own roadmap for 80 and 90% vaccination levels and what that means for its residents and visitors. Across most of the country, there are different rules in place for people who are vaccinated and those who aren't. So you might be wondering why someone who is vaccinated cares about the vaccine status of someone else. Put simply, experts say if you are unvaccinated, there's a greater chance you'll get COVID and there's a greater chance you'll pass it on.
Those who are unvaccinated are more of a risk to others because they're not protected against getting the virus, which means at least 70% more chance that they'll get it compared to a vaccinated person. And also if they get it, they tend to be sicker for longer.
Data from New South Wales Health shows vaccines provide at least 10 times greater protection against COVID infection. The figures spell it out. In New South Wales, between June 16 and October 7, there were 61,800 COVID cases. 6.1% of them were fully vaccinated. 9.2% had one dose. In 21.7%, vaccination status wasn't known, but 63% of cases had not had a vaccine.
Vaccination is a great protection, but it's not a perfect protection. No vaccines are. It gives you a 90% decreased chance of getting into hospital and probably 95% plus of dying. But that still means some fully vaccinated people will get the infection and some of them will become quite ill.
During that same period, from June to October in New South Wales, there were 8,660 COVID hospitalisations. 8,167 of them were not fully vaccinated. 493 of them had received 2 doses. Of the 1,015 COVID patients admitted to intensive care, 985 were not fully vaccinated, while 30 fully vaccinated people ended up in ICU.
What we've tended to find is that those people are usually older, that they are afflicted with a number of other chronic diseases, and they're often immune suppressed. We know that if you're younger and healthier, if you're vaccinated, that basically eliminates your risk of getting seriously unwell.
And that means you are less likely to pass COVID on to vulnerable members of the community. The national data shows unvaccinated COVID cases are much more likely to end up in hospital, putting a strain on hospitals. When those resources are stretched, that's concerning for anyone who might need health care. Experts say although unvaccinated people do pose a risk to everyone else, it's worth noting the majority of Australians do support vaccinations. The numbers getting vaccinated are evidence of that, but for some, there's no convincing.
We've got to show compassion. It will be hard to reason with them. We need to understand ourselves that they unfortunately do pose a risk to people around them, for example, the frail elderly members of the family. And so there have to be some consequences as a result of their refusal to vaccinate.
Okay. Please don't troll us. We're just
reporting.
People are getting quite vicious at the moment. Anyhow.
Don't do that.